Hello everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're going to look at the tarot scope for the sign of Leo for August 2021. We're going to do a card reading and pick a few oracle cards. And to start with, we're going to look at the astrology and what is going on with Leo at this time. So let me grab my calendar. So, of course, sorry, August. I was thinking of August and Leo, and I mixed them together. So August is the time, of course, of Leo. The end of July and most of August, with the sun being in Leo. And we have, let's see, besides the sun being in Leo, I don't think there's anything else in Leo, except for when the moon is in Leo, and that occurs on the 8th. There's a new moon in Leo, and that's the 8-8 portal, like the Lionsgate portal, and there's a new moon on the Lionsgate portal, which is pretty interesting, I think. So that new moon that occurs on August 8th is actually at 17 degrees of Leo. So wherever you have 17 degrees of Leo, or if your birthday is around that time in August, Leos, then this is a new beginning for you, right? And we also have, of course, the full moon in Aquarius, with the moon in Aquarius and the sun in Leo at the 30th degree of Leo. So we have a full moon with the sun at 30 degrees of Leo. Now, the sun is the ruling planet of Leo, so things that happen to the sun, and especially when the sun is in Leo, are going to affect Leo. On the 2nd of August, we have an opposition between the sun and Saturn. This is the sun moving through the gauntlet of the Saturn Uranus square, right? And so we have the opposition of the sun on the 2nd, and we have the square to the sun by Uranus on the 6th. And the opposition is part of the synodic cycle that began when the sun and Saturn made a conjunction to each other, and so this is a point of harvest. This is when we see what has come forth from that initial seeding of the energy. And then the square between the sun and Uranus is the first quarter crisis and action square of the conjunction that started with the sun and Uranus when those two came together in Taurus. So we have a point of awareness at the start of the month, and then a crisis in action at the very beginning, the 2nd day, and by the 6th day we have a crisis in action, all connected to that sun in Leo. And then we have the new moon in Leo. And let me see if there's anything else significant to the sun that is worth talking about. The sun actually, while in Leo, makes an opposition to Jupiter in Aquarius. That occurs on the 19th, which incidentally is the same day that Uranus goes retrograde. So that is going to be a significant period of time for everyone, but of course especially for Leo, because this is your month, Leo. And I think that is pretty much the whole, well, that's a brief picture of August for the sign of Leo. So let's take a look at the cards. I am using the Arcanum deck, tarot deck. It's a beautiful, beautiful Italian deck, actually. The artwork is lovely, and it kind of reminds me of Leo, right? Regal and beautiful and lush and rich, all the things that Leo loves, with a dash of trauma. Did I say trauma? I meant drama. Drama, trauma. Leave the trauma to your mama. Leave the drama to your mama? I don't know. Well, either way, my mother is a Leo, 4 planets. And on the 9th, she is going to be 101. So, God willing, right? God willing. So, let's see what the lion... Ooh, ooh, we are mama way. We are mama way. Whoa, Leo. Ah, you start with the Ace of Wands, which is a Leo card. Yes, the 27-9 vibration, beginnings and endings. So this is the start of a new creative project, a new life force here. So new life coming for Leo. What is challenging that? The Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles. Have you been careful enough with your money? Do you have enough resources? Have you evaluated your resources? Can you actually go full force with this new creation, or do you need to take things in a more step-by-step manner? That's the question. Let's see what's at the root. The moon. The moon. So there's a lot of emotions here. There can be a bit of lunacy. So I think that Knight of Pentacles crossing that Ace of Wands is warning of perhaps not getting too excited about new beginnings, or certainly if you're going to make a decision about something like that, you have to come from an emotionally balanced place, because the moon is not a particularly emotionally balanced place. And there are still things hidden. There are still things hidden that you are not aware of, that you need to be aware of before you take this giant leap that the Ace of Wands allows for. We have the Queen of Wands in the past. This is a woman who is large and in charge, somebody who likes the sound of her own voice, somebody who is very passionate and can be very compassionate. This is also somebody who can be somewhat cruel and petty. It kind of depends on whether this person is expressing the best of Leo or the worst of Leo. In the sky, we have the Strength card. Another Leo card, right? So Spirit says you have the strength. This is also a card about having your voice heard, roaring, having your roar heard, right? So that is in the sky. Immediate future. The Nine of Swords. Quite a bit of anxiety, quite a bit of fear. However, this card is usually, it has to do with nightmares and things like this, but this is usually something that you yourself sort of, there may not be anything there may not be a basis for this fear. It could just purely be anxiety. But there is actually quite a bit of anxiety as the month opens up for us, right? How other people see it, the King of Swords. This actually came in upside down, but I'm going to read it right side up. I'll read both sides, whether it's good or bad. So this is somebody who is an authority. This can be a police officer. This can be some sort of a judge, right? Because he's holding the Ace of Swords. He's holding the Sword of Justice. And so in the best of cases, could be somebody who would fight for you, for the right, for your rights, a protector of sorts, or it could be somebody who's scheming against you. So let's see what else is coming up here. In the domestic situation, we have the Eight of Swords. So there's a lot of fear. There's actually, for all of the good things that are here in these cards, there seems to be a lot of fear and a lot of so in your domestic situation, Leo, you are going to have to utilize your intuition to get you through this. Do not let your mind be a prison for you. But you do need to be careful in where you step. That may have something to do with this at the root, right? The moon at the root. Again, you need to come from a place of emotional stability before you make any decisions to move forward. Hopes and fears, we have the King of Wands. This is, of course, a hope to have dominion over your life, to be in charge of your life, to be the creative force within your life. And then at the end, we have the Star. So this is dream the dream. This is dream the dream. So this is very interesting. Let's see what's at the root. We have the Three of Wands, which is sort of waiting for your shifts to come in. So the work that you've done, now you're waiting for the reward. Now you're waiting for the reward. The Wheel of Fortune, a change in fortune. And the Tower. So there is something that is, there's going to be a big change and a big shift. And it may or may not be something that you're expecting. Now, generally the Tower is not, it's not something you expect. It's usually like a sudden shift. However, the Tower requires us to be who we truly are. Interesting. This card here, of course, this is associated with the planet Jupiter, and the Sun makes an opposition to Jupiter. That full moon that I talked about with the Sun in Leo and the Moon in Aquarius, the Moon is actually conjunct Jupiter. And then this Tower moment. So, perhaps your change of luck is going to be the thing that makes you do that, right? So it's kind of a mixed reading, and it's going to be interesting to see what the oracle cards say. Because for the most part, it's real positive until you get to all this mental anguish and this worrying and this fear, and it's like your mind is a prison. It's like your mind is a prison. So it's almost like you have to get out of your own head with this. You know, sometimes when there's a big change, and expected or unexpected, welcomed or unwelcomed, the mere change destabilizes your emotions. Because really, what the moon does like, it's very fluctuating energy, but what it likes is it likes security. The moon likes to have a certain amount of security. But the nature of the moon is not that secure. It's a lot of waxing and waning. So there's a waxing and waning of emotions. It's almost as if this whole reading is a little bit manic. There's a mania, and then there's like fear, and then there's phobia, and then there's an instability here that needs to be evaluated, perhaps looked at. What is it that is buried deep within, that is creating the fear of taking advantage of all of this very positive energy? Now, at the end of the reading, we have the Star. So I feel like ultimately it's going to end well for the Leo. But you are going to be going through some pretty heavy duty mental anguish over this. And it could be that the rug gets pulled out from under you, like the tower will do. Or it could be that you were at the top and now you're not at the top. It could be that you were at the bottom and suddenly you find yourself in a position of where you're seen and you're like, oh my God, right? As much as Leo likes to be seen, they like to be seen in a good light. And if you haven't had time for your makeup and your hairstyle, you know, seeing Leo without makeup and hairstyle might be not so traumatic for anybody else, but certainly traumatic for the Leo. So there's this feeling of uncovering and this feeling of being out there, whether you're ready for it or not. And that very well could bring up a lot of fear. Am I good enough? Do I know enough? You know, can this be true? You know, whatever. And it's hard to think that Leo would think that, but Leos always want to be seen in the best light possible. And sometimes they have to do a lot of prep work for that. And it almost feels like things are going to be thrust upon the Leo. And if you are emotionally stable and you're on solid emotional ground, then it won't be a problem. But if you're not, it can be a big problem. I think that's what these cards are saying. Okay, so let's do a oracle card reading for Leo. Let me just grab those cards now. So let's take a look at some oracle cards. We're going to pick 3, and we're going to pick from the Druid Animal Oracle again. I did pick, I can't remember what other sign I used these for. And we'll pick 3 and see what comes up. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the first card is the cat. Leo, you're picking all the cat, lion, roaring cards that we can find in the deck. Some pollen on the cards. Yeah. B, and adder. Okay, let's see what the book says. Let me find the book. Excuse me. Okay. Cat. The Gaelic name for cat is cat. Guardianship, detachment, and sensuality. Page 54. And if I'm trying to pronounce the Gaelic words, I'll apologize up front, because nobody can pronounce Gaelic words unless they've taken Gaelic. This card shows a wild cat in the Scottish Highlands. In the foreground, we see yellow flowered, spotted cat's ear and pink flowering cat's foot. Hill cat's glove, pennywort, is growing by the cat's tail. So there's all of these sort of herbs associated with the cat. Okay? It says, cat brings us the ability to observe situations quietly without judgment before making decisions. Apparently asleep, but really listening, a cat can sit for hours until it acts with decisiveness. Remember the saying, a cat may look at a king. You have the right to know and to judge important issues for yourself in your own time. The cat unites awareness of the spirit world with a highly developed sensuality. These two attributes are not polar opposites, as dualistic spiritual teachings would have us believe, but are facets of one continuum of awareness and sensitivity. Working towards wholeness involves enhancing and enhancing our appreciation of both the physical and non-physical worlds. So, and the next one is B. And let's see, B. B is pronounced, now I could have it wrong, but the word looks like beach, but I'm sure it's not pronounced like beach. Community, celebration, and organization. I think that was in the cards, right? Oh yes, it was crossed by that page, the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles is both the loyal knight, but it's also the prepared knight. He is looking over his fields. He is prepared to guard and watch what he has sown, right? So there's a guardianship with that, as there was, right, with this cat card. Okay, so what does it say about B? 110. Oh, almost there. Okay. It says the card shows a queen bee resting on a stone. In the background, we see the House of Mead circling at Tara. There's the House of Mead in the background. As it may have looked at the height of its powers. In the sky, the noonday sun shines brightly as we see heather, growing by the rock, which is carved with the Ogham. So this, where is it here? Is the Ogham? Right down here, if you can see that. Oops, sorry. I know this is like impossible for you guys. There it is. See the Ogham? That's that means heather. And there's the heather right next to it. Okay. It says beach. Let me see if there's a pronunciation here. Gaelic name. No, there's no pronunciation. They should definitely give me pronunciation. Beach invites us to celebrate. You may have a special reason for celebration. Or you may simply need to celebrate the wonder and mystery of being alive. Ace of Wands. You may like to enjoy a glass or two of mead, which, if it has been made in Scotland, will carry the scent of heather and will bring you closer to the spirit of the Highlands. And of course, mead is wine made from honey. In a Druid tradition, there are occasions to celebrate every 6 weeks or so. As human beings, we need to have times when we can come together and enjoy each other's company. The bee tells us that we can live together in harmony, however impossible that may sometimes seem. But being one with the natural world, by paying homage to the sun, by centering our lives around spirit or the goddess, we can work together in community. And then the last card is Adder, which I believe is the only poisonous snake in England or on the British Isles. Nothair, transformation, healing, and life energy, 78. Of course, that's associated with the Kundalini, right? And the Kundalini, the secret of all spiritual mysteries, I believe, is the path of the Strength card. This card depicts a pair of adders. Druids were sometimes called adders, and it is possible that the story of St. Patrick ridding Ireland of snakes refers to the Druids. In the background, we see the Druid snake stone altar at Cumbria, covered in ivy, a plant which, like the snake, is poisonous and yet which also speaks to the mystery of death and rebirth, of the soul's journey through the labyrinth from this world to the next and back again. We see such a labyrinth symbolically depicted in the maze carved in the rock face. Such patterns have been found in many places, including Tinagal in Cornwall. In the foreground are ammonite and sea urchin fossils, both of which may have been used by Druids as magical adder stones. There's the ammonite, down by my finger. And then that looks like some sort of sand dollar. What do they call it? Sea urchin fossil. Okay. Nathair offers healing and transformation. Its ability to glide into the darkness through crevices in the rocks connects it to the under or other world and the realm of death. It is the totem animal of the earth goddess and also the sky father, sun god, and represents our ability to die and be reborn. The energy that enables us to be born on earth is sexual energy, but this also necessitates our death. Befriending adder or snake power will enable you to journey through life gracefully and magically, shedding your old life easily when the time comes, whether that old life be the physical body or a stage in the present incarnation. So we have a certain amount of guardianship and ferocity, a certain amount of independence that comes with the cat energy, yet we are surrounded by and can work within community to make things better for everyone. And then we have the mysteries of life and death here. So it looks like, Leo, this is going to be a very big month for you, which of course it always is. And we can expect that with the new moon on the 8/8 Stargate. So we will see, right? Okay, guys, have yourself a great month. Like and subscribe, and I will see you again next month for your September Tarot Scope for the sign of Leo. Much love. Namaste.